Hey guys, it's Andrew Esquivel here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Columbia River Knife and Tool Kiss in the Dark knife. This is an EDC type knife that you would carry on you, and I bought this specifically to comply with Illinois state laws as well as Chicago laws. Now, the Chicago laws can be pretty stingy. They want you to have a knife with a blade that is 2.5 inches or smaller. The blade on the Kiss in the Dark is 2.25 inches. Despite that, it's still a decently sizable blade. It's still useful. It's got this really nice razor sharp tip. Halfway is just a flat blade and the other half is serrated. So it does have some functionality to it. It does not have any spring assist, so that helps it comply even further because Illinois laws don't particularly care as long as it's not automatic, but Chicago does not like any sort of assist. We know that because of the laws they have against things like switchblades, which are fully automatic. Spring assist is kind of debated. This is just flip assist, and the reason I can do flip assist legally without any issue is because the flip assist mechanism is built into the tang of the blade. The law specifies that the spring assembly for spring assist and automatic, it has to be inside of the hilt, or the inside of basically the main part where you hold the knife. So the Kiss in the Dark comes in two colors. We've got the good old stainless steel color here, and it also comes in a more sleek black that's a little more expensive by a few dollars. This is a utilitarian knife in my opinion. I didn't need it in any fancy anodized colors or whatnot. So one thing to note is, from what I understand, Columbia River Knife and Tool used to be made in America. That's no longer the case. I had heard they may have moved to Japan, but if you can look at the box, it says product of China. That is a bummer. Nevertheless, I have read reviews about the sharpness of the blade being very good. In one case I've read some dude cut off his finger by accident because of some sort of malfunction, perhaps. I don't see that being the case here in terms of cutting your finger off. I think it's a pretty solidly made knife. According to the pamphlet and everything that comes with the knife, tells you do's and don'ts, how to preserve the knife properly. Has a lifetime warranty, but remember, that doesn't mean your lifetime, that means the lifetime of the product. So if I'm to understand this correctly, once they stop producing the Kiss in the Dark series, the lifetime is now over. So keep that in mind. That's what a lifetime actually means. So considering it has no spring assist of any sort, considering the blade is less than 2.5 inches, it complies with Chicago, Illinois laws. And the reason this is important is because, let's say you're carrying a knife and the police officer says, well, we believe you have intents to commit some sort of nefarious act with that knife. If the blade is over 2.5 inches in Chicago, you can get a Class A misdemeanor, spend some time in jail, you'd get your knife confiscated and spend a few $1,000s in fines. Whereas if you have a blade that complies with the law, even if they think you're going to do something nefarious with it, there's a limit to how many things that they can charge you with. Now, they can say, you know, we think, we have reason to believe you are going to commit a nefarious act with it. It doesn't mean you are. That's just not up to you to decide in the end. The police get to decide that, unfortunately. That leaves legal knife owners in a bit of a predicament because most knives come at about a knife length of 3¼ inch, which is above even general Illinois state recommendations of 3 inches or less. So, if you're in the general Illinois area, 3 inches or less is, from what I've read, the recommended for the law. And the exceptions to it is if you're hunting or if you're not carrying it for nefarious purposes, then the law doesn't exactly apply. But then why would they, give you all this hassle? Nefarious purpose, intent to commit a crime. That makes the whole law very, very sketchy and hard to determine. So that's why I decided to go with this. It obeys the law, and it's a well-built knife. Despite being made in China, it is a well-built knife. The only thing I don't like about it is that even though it flips like this, it has no sheath for the both sides. It is a skeletal system kind of frame, and that's just how it is. But I can rub my hand up on this and everything, and because the blade is so flush with the side, I'm not going to cut myself. So I bet you're all dying to know just how long it is, just to prove it. So we're going to take a measuring tape, and we're going to measure. And if we take the blade here, measure from the very tip to what is actually the end of the blade, it is indeed 2¼ inches. Now you're looking at this thinking, wait a minute, it looks like that blade goes all the way to 3 inches. That is not the case, and here is why. The blade portion of a knife ends where the tang begins. So right here, the very end, this last little notch on the serrated portion, after that it's all blunt. There's no knife portion anymore. That's where it ends, right up here. The tang goes all the way back here because that's what gives us its support connected to the hilt. So that is one thing to keep in mind. The tang is not part of the blade. The law specifies the blade length, not the overall length of the blade plus the tang. Keep that in mind when you're shopping for a knife in an area that has heavy restrictions. As far as cutting things, I could try cutting several things. I don't have many things to cut. I mean, as far as opening a box for packages, we can pretty much assume that's going to work just fine. I don't know, we got a Q-tip here. And it makes a little indent, but this is where the serrated part comes in handy. It's all very heavily wound paper. I'm trying to get this in better focus for you. So it kind of makes a good cut, but not really. The problem is, it is a decent blade, but ever since they stopped manufacturing in the good old United States of America, the blade sharpness has, from what I understand, gone down. It is good for general purpose cutting. You can sharpen it. I would recommend, probably, if you know what you're doing, to sharpen it. Make sure it's got a nice good edge to it. Coming right out of the box, it's a $20-something knife. You can't honestly expect it to kind of compare to the really expensive, super well-built knives out there. This is just a utilitarian knife for general purpose work. It's not meant for survival or anything. It's not meant for self-defense. It's just a general knife. One thing I also want to talk about is it has a clip. So it will clip onto the back of your pants or in a pocket. And the clip is super sturdy. In fact, it's held in by 3 little screws that are really in there. But okay, the blade is not the sharpest in the world, but it complies with the laws and where I have to deal with carrying it. That's why it's worth the amount of money I paid, which is around $22 for it. So yeah, I recommend it. I think it's a good knife. I've had some time to play around with it. Don't expect it to be the creme de la creme, obviously. It just does what it does decently. And at the end of the day, in the 2.5 inch or under category, this is probably one of the better knives that you can get for a reasonable price. So, that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, show your friends, check out my videos, got plenty of them. Check out your local state laws, do your own research. This is what I've found on my own time in terms of the laws of Illinois and Chicago, Illinois in particular. I don't live in Chicago, but I do have to go up there once in a while. So make sure what you buy is legal, otherwise it's just going to cause you trouble. So that being said, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.